Hey, what's up, YouTube channel? It's Taurus Down again. Y'all, this is that Go Hard or Go Home channel. All right, y'all, let's jump right into it. Thank y'all for all the subscribers and stuff like that. And everybody's been holding up and keeping up with everything and stuff like that. But some guys are still upset about this 50K thing. So then I'm going to talk about it a little bit. And I'm going to talk about a little bit of my personal experience with it, okay? Before we even get to talking about it, though, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to debunk this bullshit about most guys making 50K because it's a lie. So I'm going to tell y'all that that's the first thing we're going to do today. All right? The median income for a man in the United States last time they did the census, because if you look at this chart right here, it tells you that down here, the bottom left, the quarter down there, bottom left down there, that the sources was the United States Census Bureau. All right? It included that. So the last time they did this check, the average man was making about $38,000 a year. All right. If you look at $38,000 a year, that's when they did the check. Okay, that's just when they did the check. Now some people are gonna be like, "Oh, well, it doesn't change since then. The changes then." No, it hasn't. It hasn't, and we're about to find out why. Okay, $38,000 a year is $18.27 an hour. Most guys not making that. All right. Most people are still fighting for this uh, $15 an hour minimum wage. So to make 38,000, you got to be making $18 an hour. And if you're not making 18,000 an hour, $18 an hour, then you ain't making even 30K. Most guys are probably making somewhere between 12 to 18 an hour. So you probably making somewhere between 35, 34, you know what I'm saying, to 38,000 a year. Because anybody below the 18, and they're not paying over 18 to young guys that's coming to the workforce. I know that's not happening. That's not happening. Unless you get some kind of extreme, outrageous job that's very dangerous, you might be making $18 walking in the door. Or it's very strenuous, or it's a lot of work. Okay. You can make this kind of money if you go work in that warehouse and stuff like that, or some of the distribution centers. You can make $18 coming in the door. But the deal is, that's not 50K. All right, I'm debunking this 50K shit. 50K, y'all, is $24 an hour. Okay, that is 50K. Most people don't make this. This is high manager money and shit like that. And RN pay, LPN type pay, $30, $24 an hour. Most people not making 50K. Let's just get that shit out of the way first. Okay. Now, let me talk about my personal experience, because I was making about the same amount of money as $38,000 or so years ago. All right. Let me talk about my personal experience with it. The guys who are upset, they keep talking about it. Here's the deal. They're mad because I'm saying you shouldn't really be dating at that time frame, and you shouldn't. I didn't do it my damn self. All right. Now I had a little bit different of a lifestyle than you guys, because we were more social and we went out to bars and clubs and stuff. So you could go out on weekends and meet women and still get sex and stuff. You know, it wasn't like now when y'all go out, y'all ain't talking and all that good shit. So things was kind of different. All right. Now, the way that it was explained to me by the other guy is, if you first off making most people not gonna be making 50K, but he was saying that with 50K after all your expenses, you wind up about $12,000 a year, which you probably could if you did just paid your bills and didn't do nothing else. I mean, like, I'm talking about don't go out, you don't eat no steak, because that's what I had to do in order to save that kind of money. When I was making about 50K, 30 something thousand, 40,000, in order to save $1,000 or so a month, your ass couldn't do nothing. You better not get a flat tire. You better not get a flat tire. You better not run low on gas. None of that. Everything had to be completed, and you could do it, but it wasn't that fun. Let me tell you, I did that for about 6 months. I sat down in my 20s and I decided to get ahead. And I did that for about 6 months. And then I kept on doing it for about another couple of years, which is what allowed me to leave the Army when I felt like leaving it in 15 years. And I have to be just stay there 20 years. You say you can finagle saving $1,000 a month out of pretty much any kind of pay, but it's gonna rely on you not doing shit, and dating is one thing you ain't gonna be able to do. Definitely, I was eating ramen noodles, homie. You couldn't eat no steak. You couldn't do none of that shit. That's the part that people are talking about when they're saying you shouldn't date. At that point in time, you should be taking that money and investing it into yourself. That's what I did with myself. That's why I was able to go home at 30 something years old. I already had amassed a pretty decent amount of money in the bank. Was there girls along the way? Yeah. It's still gonna be girls along the way. It's not gonna be the ones you want. Because if they wouldn't take you at that lower level, they got less shit than you. That's another thing I want to get into with this right there, guys. They keep talking about you can, but I look at hypergamy, and guys keep talking about they got to date down, and the average woman don't want the average man. So that means that if you're the average man, which this type of pay and stuff that we're talking about is that you're gonna get the below average woman. It was happening to me. I didn't like that shit. I don't like living like that. I wouldn't. It's not me. I moved my life level up to the point where I could date like nurses and stuff like that. People who I thought was actually making something. You know, yeah. So my personal experience with that is that I agree with the guy that was telling me, yeah, if you save all your money, but I live that. I live that, and I don't think most people is doing that. And they definitely wasn't doing it with. I didn't have no car payment. I took double down and paid. I paid off my car. I didn't buy another car. I was let me say I was in the army about fucking 15 years. I didn't get a new car until like that 12th year. I drove the same car for about 13 years. Whereas some other people was to get a new car. They might go trade in. They might do this. I paid mine off. And the only thing I was trying to do was pay the maintenance I had to do on it every now and again. Which that wasn't part of the plan. That's got to be part of the plan too. 'Cause you have to maintain your car. You got to do all the other good shit. That's why when this guy's sitting there telling me like, yeah, oh yeah, yeah, I lived this. I lived it. You can sit there and do this shit, but it ain't gonna be like what you saying. What's gonna happen is you still gonna have some expenses, and unless you just get down to the point where you pretty much sitting on all your money, you gonna be running money. You won't save this $1,000 either. I lived that. That was a harsh life because you couldn't do nothing. When the dude was writing to me about it, I'm like, yeah, yeah. If you just pay your bills, if you pay for food, if you pay for this, you might come out with some extra money, but you can't do nothing with that extra money. You can't do nothing with it. He got mad because I said you was living in poverty. You was, I was, because that you couldn't eat like you wanted to. See, some people might think that okay, you was able to eat, so you wasn't in the poverty. I don't look at that shit that way. Me, I start seeing poverty. I look at myself as being in poverty. The minute I can't have what I want, okay, my needs getting met is one thing. Getting what I want is another one. If all you can do is take what you get, to me that is poverty. I gotta take what I can get. I'm in poverty. I ain't got no choices. The only difference between me and the guy at the soup kitchen is that, you know what I'm saying, I got to go to the grocery store and pay for my food. He got to take whatever they give him over there. But I'm still taking what I can get too, because I can't buy for certain shit. I can't go get for certain stuff. You see what I'm saying? That's how it was for me. I don't live that way now. And I refuse to live that way. I don't like living that way. Some people around me think that I'm just way too much about money. If y'all keep listening to me, y'all may hear it, you know what I'm saying, hear that out of me. I'm going to talk about it a lot. It's like I'm talking about with this right now. But it's because money is important. It's important that you know what's going on about the money and stuff in your life. There's one reason why I'm choosing to talk about this subject. I think that men need to really start paying attention to this doggone finance stuff. They're throwing a lot of stuff around out there in the world. It's not really the truth. Everybody ain't making 50K, homie. It ain't the truth. That's $24 an hour, bro. That's $25 an hour. $50,000. Everybody ain't getting that. That's certain jobs, and that's certain pay grades and pay levels. The average person getting about 30 grand, and you ain't doing nothing with that. I can tell you that. Most people ain't even at the 50K. And at the 50K, you probably shouldn't be. If you all you can come up with is about 12 grand, because that's what the dude was telling me. He was a finance major. I didn't say that. I didn't do none of that math. The guy did all the math and touched everything. So he was about right though. You can come up with about $1,000 a month out of it, because you're gonna pay for if you live anywhere decent. See you, and that's what it is. You have to sit there and reduce you. That's why I keep telling you, it's poverty. When you got to reduce yourself down to certain things, you don't got no choices. You got to me a poverty situation. You may not can't eat. I get you. A lot of people want to know worst of the worst. I'm not gonna look at the worst of the worst. I'm gonna go ahead and up that so I don't even go down the worst of the worst. To me, it's broke. The minute I'm broke to the point of this right here. When I look at it like this, I'm broke if I got to make a decision on what I'm about to spend this money on, or whether or not I should keep the money. That makes me feel like I'm broke. When I go buy something, I know I'm going to buy. I'm not no problem with it. It ain't gonna be no decision based on like, okay, do I need to get this or do I need to not get that? But I had those times in my life. It's one of the reasons why I'm kind of talking about this thing too. The dating thing with the 50K shit is putting guys into a position of like, okay, you're probably not ready for this right now. Not for no serious dating anyway. Like, okay, like I get it. Some guys talking about like they just going out there smashing, dashing. I get it. You know what I'm saying? I get that. What I'm talking about and talking to is the people that's trying to do this seriously. Okay, because you're gonna wanna be able to kind of pick when you get to the women that you want to deal with. That's said I want to do, and that's where I got myself to. I want to date women that's doing this or doing that at these certain levels or this whatever. And I know that the average woman don't want the average man. I know that too. So I ain't gonna be the average man. That's what I'm trying to tell guys. That's gonna involve some of this stuff I'm talking about. With this 50K, with this 38K, whatever it is you're making, you have to sit your ass down and invest in stuff. But you ain't got no whole bunch of money to be putting in dealing with women. You don't. And that's my point. That's my point of it. The guy keeps like talking to me about it and something like that, and I'm like, hey, look, because I brought up the poverty lines and stuff like that. Let me talk about that for a minute. Okay, the poverty line in the United States is about $15,000 for one person. All right. Now the dude was telling me that, and I gave him everything. I said, this your math is correct and stuff like that. If you only gonna come up with 12 grand at the end of all this though. That's paying for your food and everything else. Your money is still below this 15,000 right here. Okay, and like you can't look at it that way. I'm like, you might better look at it that way because this right here is really what you got in your pocket. You can't count your expenses. I don't understand why people count that. I don't count that as part of my pay. That $38,000 that I lost paying for my house and my car and all the other stuff a year, because that's the way he explained it. He was right. I only wound up with $12,000, and then I look at my $12,000, and there's one person in my household. This is all I got left over. He's like, well, that's before this or that. Okay, if that right there is before taxes, then that's even worse. That's even worse. That means that after taxes and everything else, I still got way less than that. It's even worse. They don't want to look at it that way because what you're trying to do is fool yourself into feeling like you got something that you don't know. You need to be taking that shit and planting that into making some more money. If you, a person should, they say a person should have about 6 months worth of expenses, right? In a savings account. This is for the finance people. The finance people keep talking to me because I know this stuff. I'm understanding it. Yeah. That means that if you make 50K and you ain't gonna come out with about 12,000, then your expenses is about $38,000 a year. Half of that is about $19,000, and you need to have that in the bank. That means that if you get an extra $1,000 a year, that means you need to work about 19 months and putting that $1,000 away, and you can't have no flat tire because you didn't have one that's gonna be. You can't have no flat tire. You can't have no. See, man, no, that don't work that way. I know it don't. I lived it. The best thing I think for a guy to be doing is if he coming out with any thousand or whatever he come out with extra, that shit need to be getting put somewhere to make some more money. But I don't think you should be spending it dating. I don't. And in most cases, like I'm gonna get into in some of my other videos, you shouldn't have to spend too much money dating and stuff anyway, guys, because the women that like you gonna like you anyway. Y'all can go a couple places, do a couple things. Some of them should be on the same thing anyway. They should be on the same thing and trying to save their money, especially if y'all in your early y'all 20s. Y'all need to be trying to save y'all money and make some money. She need to be doing it too. You ain't gonna be trying to be just traveling the world and all the other good shit. And no, y'all might get one of them every now and again, and that need to be planned. And both of y'all need to put some money aside to go do this job. But it don't need to take away from the saving and the investing. See, we get into all that in other videos. Look, let me try to make a base thing here. I'm not saying that nobody should, you won't have no opportunities with women and you shouldn't do nothing with women. What I'm saying is, you don't have enough money to be seriously trying to do anything, and you really shouldn't. Even you shouldn't be doing anything that's not serious because you might still be spending a little money doing that. You don't need to be spending nothing. All that junk need to be going into you. So later on, you can sit on your ass and then and make YouTube videos of bullshit. Do little business endeavors, because that's what I do. All I'm saying is think of yourself first, right? And she should be thinking of herself first too. She should be having her own joint together too. Like that. We'll get into that in other videos because I start beating that. My base thing I want to make is I'm not saying that you ain't gonna have no time with girls or you shouldn't. I'm just saying like you should be more focused on your financial. Because I just got done telling you the first call, the 50K thing, we debunked that song. Everybody ain't getting that. But the majority of people not getting that. Majority of work is around $18 an hour. Starting out, 15 to 18. And some people getting less than that. It's about $30-something thousand a year. I want to bring that point out in this. Please pay attention to that, especially y'all Alpha Squad guys. You gotta first know that right there ain't the truth, and then this is what it really is. So you could redo the math and everything else at those levels. You'd be worse off than what the dude was telling me, and that's what I'm trying to say. Just let's stop going against the math and do something about it. Invest in yourself, invest your money in doing something else for right then instead of dating. All right, you'll get to a point where got extra money that you can put into dating, but it's not in the beginning, and it's not when you making certain levels of money either, because you should be investing that money into yourself. That's what I think. So y'all drop the comments and y'all let me know. Mentars down to y'all. This is that Go Hard to Go Home channel, and I'm out of here on that one, y'all. Peace.